Hello and welcome back to the Spellcorp Industrial Complex, where today we're going to be doing a little more with Mekanism, and there's a little sneak peek behind me of something I've done behind the scenes here. But first, if you notice, my armor's a little different today. We're rocking this Supremium armor because the chest has a flight augment that you can put on it. If I can figure out how to get this, it was a flight augment. This right here, very easy to make, 4 Supremium, 4 Nether Stars, and now I have creative flight. That's all it took. So, gone are the days of my jetpack and my all the Modium armor. We're now flying a little higher with Supremium. So, that's great. If you remember last time, well, we started the goal of trying to get Antimatter, but that had a few prerequisites. First of those, requiring polonium and plutonium, each of which was made in these pressurized reaction chambers after pumping nuclear waste through either a solar neutron activator or through something else. I don't remember the other one. Oh, through the isotopic centrifuge. Yeah, so one to make plutonium, one to make polonium, the gas, and then we combine it to make the nuggets and whatever. But this setup that I made, the one that fits within one chunk, was very, very slow because, well, this is only burning 2 millibuckets of fuel per tick, and those 2 millibuckets turns into 2 millibuckets of nuclear waste per tick. So it's very, very slow because it takes about, I don't know, like 1,000 nuclear waste, or I think the nuclear waste turns into polonium at a 10-to-1 ratio, so we lose 1/10 of it. It just takes so much. It was taking way too long, and I needed more polonium and plutonium because I want to progress. I want to get to antimatter, and antimatter requires us to make a bunch of these SPS casings for the supercritical phase shifter, and then supercharged coils, which require polonium, and then I believe the fusion reactor stuff requires polonium. We just need tons of the stuff, so that's what this is, okay? This is a pretty crazy setup. Well, the maximum size for a Mekanism reactor is 18 by 18 by 18. So what I did is I made a 16 by 16 by 16 reactor here that fits into the bounds of one chunk because I wanted to make sure there's no issues with loading the chunk. I've thrown this little flux point here with chunk loading turned on just so that this area stays loaded. It has a ton of fuel rods throughout it. I didn't fill it completely because you run into some coolant issues and whatnot, but these are 3 chunks that I have loaded all the time right now, and they're making pretty much everything I could need at the moment. I'll show you around. So this gigantic reactor, well, it's cooking at 543 degrees per second. It can hold 4 million millibuckets of fuel. We got water flowing in, we got steam. You'll notice I'm not using the steam for anything right now, and that's actually just by choice. I don't really need the power at the moment. So for the moment, I'm just letting the steam sit. If I want, you could hook this up to turbines. I think this is enough to support like 3 gigantic turbines worth of power. But I just didn't feel like building that infrastructure and making it. So what we do have going on though, is this is producing a lot of nuclear waste for us. And that nuclear waste is going into some solar neutron activators. Right now, I'm just making polonium, and you'll notice it's going much, much quicker than our other farm. It's doing really, really well. Here we have plutonium as well, but I have this turned off at the moment because you actually don't need as much plutonium as you do polonium. But let's take a look at the numbers. That's what you're all curious about. This has a maximum burn rate of 520 millibuckets per tick, which is what, like 250 times as much as that one. But I don't know how much fuel I'm actually making, so I'm only cooking it at 300 millibuckets per tick. We've kept up so far because of this system here, which is 4 kind of units similar to what I have over there. There's 4 of these, and each of these 4 little things is making me fissile fuel. It's very loud. I'm not going to get too close, but process is pretty simple. I have 4 chemical oxidizers turning sulfur into sulfur dioxide, and then that runs into the trioxide, the sulfuric acid, fluorite crashes into there. That splits 2 ways, and then we have 2 uranium processing things, making that into hexafluoride. And we're actually full on fissile fuel because apparently I forgot to hook up pipes to that one. Whoops. So we actually haven't even been making nearly enough. Okay, well, easy fix. Add some stuff there. Okay. And then that's actually just being imported into my Mekanism system, or my applied energistics network, and you'll see here I set up a little filter just to look at this. So we have 18,000, almost 19,000 buckets of fissile fuel here. I think we're making more than we're using at the moment. I have a very hard time checking how much I'm actually making. There doesn't seem to be an easy way. You can use a Mekanism network reader. If I have one, I don't know where it is. There's a network reader that can tell you how much is flowing through a pipe at any moment you click it, but it's not super consistent and reliable. But anyways, look at this. 228 plutonium pellets and 658 polonium. We're making so much. And yeah, it looks like, I mean, plutonium is only used for the SPS casing, so I didn't really need lots of it, but polonium we'll need tons of. We'll need all these different mining units and things for some of the different stuff. But I think we can go ahead now, and I think we can finish up our SPS casing. I have 23 on me right now. Uh-oh. Am I out of HDPE? Oh, I can't. Aha, HDPE I can't make because it's not in my filter. Let's just add it to the filter. So this is a view cell. You can actually specify items within it, and then when you throw it in your little terminal, it will show you all those items. So you can neatly filter some stuff out, which is very, very handy. Let's make the 60 of this that we need. I made 61 by accident, but now we have what it requires for our supercritical phase shifter. I need 122 reactor glass. I gotta craft that. Now with this, what is it? You can infuse polonium with large amounts of power to create antimatter gas, which can be crystallized into pellets. To build it, you need to make the total of blah, 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 blah. Don't care. This is it. This is what we're going to make, and we're going to build it in one of these chunks over here. So we can get going. We can set that up. Okay, looking at this, it's pretty simple to build. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1 circles on all 6 sides. Where do we want to put this? Where do we want to put this? It's an odd number. I want it chunk loaded, I think. So we're going to do it over here. I'm going to do it here. Okay, so how does this go? Well, very, very easy. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Like this. Like this. And then we fill the bottom with reactor glass. And I'm just going to do that on all 6 sides. Super, super simple. There we go. Look at that. We've got this hollow shell of a supercritical phase shifter. It's just the outline. We need ports on it. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know. This icon, they do 1, 2, 3, and 4. So maybe we want to do the same. It looks like, to my knowledge, you can't put the ports on the edges here. They have to be wherever you would place the glass. So within the kind of frame outline. So I can put them here, but I can't put them where that frame is. So we're going to throw these up like that. There we go. That's our supercritical phase shifter. And I believe we have to put these supercharged coils inside them. It's placed on an SPS port in the center of 2 faces like the image below. When given power, these will supercharge polonium. Only 1 is required, but you can use 2 if you want. To produce 1 millibucket of antimatter, you need 400 million RF. If you haven't started making a fusion reactor, now's a good time. Yeah, that's going to get crazy. But let's make our terminal, our supercharged coil. Boink. That's good. And we can just throw it in there. If I want to make 2 supercharged coils, we have everything. Fantastic. How much polonium do we have now that I've been sitting here? 1,200. Okay. Beautiful. Also, that reminds me, thinking about polonium. That is so loud. I was thinking about this reactor here for a moment. What I'll tell you about this reactor is very, very cool. It has an automatic kill switch right here. Basically, there's 4 different logic adapters, each of them set to one of these 4 different conditions. So high temperature, excess waste, damage critical, and insufficient fuel. Each of those is like a warning for this reactor. And they're all hooked up on this redstone line. So if any of those goes off and says this is a problem with the reactor, it's going to light this line up, it's going to turn this torch off, it's going to unpower our reactor, and it's going to shut it off. So that if anything bad goes wrong, it shuts off the reactor until it's fixed again, which is amazing. Super, super awesome. Would you look at that? We have a lot of nuclear waste piling up. Oh yeah, these solar neutron activators only work during the day, so we got to keep waiting. Very cool. And as for water, how am I getting water into this reactor? Well, it's a little cheaty. Basically, integrated dynamics, you can transfer up to like whatever the Java integer limit is, like 2.1 billion, whatever. You can transfer fluid at that rate per tick. So I have this set to 1 billion per tick, and I'll show you how. We just have a kitchen sink. We're using a fluid importer, the logic cable, and the fluid interface. And in this, you throw a variable card in here. I'm not going to mess with this too much because I don't want to destroy the water. You're going to put a variable card in here. You're going to hit this little plus on import all fluids, and then you're going to scroll along until you find fluid transfer rate. And I set this to 1 billion. And now this has no issue keeping up with water. It's putting so much in. So these supercharged coils we can just throw inside on those ports. I think we're good to go. Now we need a ton of power. So fusion reactor time, I guess. So for our fusion reactor, it's the best power source in the pack. They're right. Once activated, it can push out up to 200 million RF per tick with the right setup. It can also be cooled with water to produce steam, which can go in an industrial turbine to make even more power. You need to follow a simple pattern. Each face looks like this. For the top, we want to replace the middle block with the fusion reactor controller. For the ports, you can replace any of the reactor glass on the sides. For this setup, we'll use 2 ports to input deuterium and tritium, then a port to output power. So I just need 3 ports. Let's build all this stuff up. These are, I think, going to be pretty simple fusion reactor frames for us, which is atomic alloys and polonium, which we have tons of that stuff by now. Okay, let's see if we can figure this one out. This one's pretty simple, it looks like. Like they said, these along all the sides. And then just repeat that. But I'm going to put glass in the middle of each side for now, just so we can get the shape together. And then we throw our control rod in the middle. That's almost done. I want a port for our gas to come out, or our power, sorry. We want port for power. I'm confused. And then we're going to put 2 ports for our gases. Hopefully easy enough. Does this work? Why does this not work? I never lined the floor. That's why. How about now? Okay. That's good, right? Fusion reactor formed. Heat, fuel, stats. All of that's good. Okay. Now, we just have to pump these gases in. And I guess that means I have to make these gases. So you need friggin' laser beams to jump start the machine. But we want to fuel the fission reactor with DT fuel. There are 2 ways to fuel it. You can either pump it in. Yeah. Let's start separately. Okay. Let's make these. Tritium. By now, you're already making lithium. No, I'm not. Pump that into a solar neutron activator to create tritium. So if we make lithium into a solar neutron activator, we'll make tritium. Lithium is what? That's a like brine through a evaporation thing? Yeah, liquid lithium is brine through a thermal evaporation controller. So we just need a big thermal evaporation controller. Okay, cool. There's 2 big brining towers. I just have to pump water and heat in now, and we should be good to go. So if we set these resistive heaters each to, I don't know, 1,000 RF per tick, they should get these going way hotter, right? I think that's how these work. And then this one to 1,000 using 1 kilo Fe per tick. This is getting hot and cooking up brine. Cool. Then we take the brine and we pump it into this one. And then now making lithium. Awesome. And then liquid lithium, we just throw through a rotary condensator to get lithium, and then lithium into the solar neutron activators to get our other fuel. There we are. This is making regular lithium, and we'll throw some speed upgrades in there. Now we got actual lithium, which is a gas. And if I take pressurized tubes, we can pump that into a few solar neutron activators. I don't know if I actually need multiple or if one will do. One might be able to keep up, but that's fine. And there we are making tritium. We have lots and lots of it. And if we so want to, we can pump that stuff right into this tank. And there we go. That is one of our gases coming in. We have 60 buckets already coming in. Awesome. Next up, we need deuterium. Deuterium to fuel our fission reactor. We'll need to create 2 different gases. This one being deuterium. To make this, we'll need to make some electric pumps and give them a filter upgrade. Place them over a source block of water, give them some power, and they'll pump out heavy water. And heavy water into an electrolytic separator makes deuterium. So we just got to pump heavy water into an electrolytic separator. Let's just see what this kind of looks like, and then I can figure out a decent layout for it. So we need a pump. Let's go like this, and then throw it over a water source. That's all I need to do. And then give you a... Uh-oh. You already messed up. Throw a filter upgrade in here, which I didn't make, apparently. Throw a filter upgrade. And now it'll make heavy water. But I gotta pull this old water out. Let's just dump all this stuff. Let it burn through all that water. Now it's making heavy water, and we'll set it to idle. We'll dump the oxygen. But deuterium it is making. And what's our slowness? Is it due to the fact that we need more pumps? Probably. Yeah, the pumping is pretty slow. I think the electrolytic separator can probably keep up with more if we want to pump more water in 2 millibuckets to make 2. Okay, I have 4 pumps maxed out here. And I think this is maybe making enough for us for now. I mean, if we don't have enough, I can always increase it later. I've seen people use like 60 pumps and a bunch of electrolytic separators, like a 10-to-1 ratio almost, to make enough deuterium. But that's probably just to keep up with like a max reactor. I don't really have to worry about that right now. And then, I mean, obviously you could have more thermal evaporation tanks, and that would be good. But right now I think we're doing fine. So now we just have to look at fueling the reactor and getting started with this thing. So what does it want? A fuel injector. To kickstart the fusion reactor, we'll need a quick shot of DT fuel. This is made by combining deuterium and tritium together in a chemical infuser. Start by making a whole hrum and place it into the infuser where the plus symbol is to fill it with DT fuel. Now we're ready to jumpstart the reactor. So I think we gotta make that, of course. A whole hrum, whole ram. Oh, and I need a metallurgic infuser with charcoal and gold dust. Okay. So if we just take a little infuser and throw it here for a minute, and then pull some gassy gas out of each of these, we should be good. Gonna make a little bit of this DT fuel. How much do you need? That's all I needed? Okay. So we'll do that. And I want to run the fuel into the reactor, so we're actually gonna move our ports to this side. Fuel. Injection rate 2. I have no idea. But we have fuel in it. That's good. Now we just have to start it up. We got to kickstart the system. We're also just going to let this make enough DT fuel. Just to have a little bit of a backlog. That's fine. Power. I want to make sure this chunk stays loaded. Make sure chunk's loaded on the flux plug there. Beautiful. Now what do we have to do? Well, make a hole around, place it into the infuser where the symbol is, fill it with DT fuel. We're ready to jumpstart the reactor. Yada, yada, yada. We need lasers. Okay. To create a reaction for the reactor to turn on, we're going to need to inject it with a ton of power. It requires you to set up several lasers that need to be powered, then shooting it into a laser focus matrix. We place it on one of the faces of the fusion reactor. We got our laser focus matrix, and we'll put it... actually, let's not put it on this side. I want it over here. We're going to reorganize again. Laser focus matrix there. And on this side, I want my power port. We need a laser amplifier and lasers to see a visual, check out the ponder, and it looks like these have power flowing into them. And then lasers. Amy's laser into a laser amplifier. Using one is pretty slow, so we're going to make a few. lasers on a power source, or you can have them on pipes or cables. You want to give a block of empty space between the lasers and the amplifier. It has a red dot on one of the faces. This is what you want to point towards the focus matrix to make sure to turn the laser amplifier off and wait for it to store at least 400 MF. Then it'll be ready. So I need a laser amplifier as well, and this is very simple to make. Okay, here we are, and we just want to place this away from our system. Let's rotate it. We want this big red side facing in. Can I add like a lever or something to make sure it's turned off? And then now we hook up our lasers. Oh no, we just fired a laser. Whoops. So something like that. Is it building up power now? It is. Oh god, this is very slow. What if I say bypass limit? Power surge. Let's just grab a bunch of lasers, hook them all up to it. So this is going to take a couple minutes until it said, what, 400 milliRF per tick. And then we're ready to go. And then we're so ready to go. A laser amplifier with at least 400 mil. Once you're ready, place the whole ROM into the reactor controller, pump in the fuel, then activate your laser amplifier. If done, you'll see the reactor activate. Oh boy. And then what? It can produce a ton of power. Easiest way to produce power is by pumping them in separately, then controlling how much is fuel used, burned. This has to be an even number with a max of 98 as it combines the DT fuel inside the reactor itself. The consumption of each fuel is equal to half of the injection rate per tick, meaning 49 millibuckets of each for the max. However, you can directly inject DT fuel, but will not be able to control the injection rate. This will cool. Don't really care. I want antimatter. You put power into the supercritical phase shifter and polonium pellets and into a chemical crystallizer. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there, folks. We're almost at antimatter. And wouldn't that be great? Well, I'm going to wait for this to fill up, and we'll see. We'll see what we can do here. Okay, it's time. We have 874 mega FE per tick. Not per tick, just mega FE. Mega? It is mega, right? I don't know. Kilo, giga, mega, whatever. All of them. Million. And look at this. I realized. I wish I realized this sooner, but you can use these ender tanks to transport Mekanism gases. So we're actually putting polonium in our system here. And that's incredible because I could have used that. I could have used that instead of like basically everything I have. I did not need to use this whole crazy AE importing system and then pumping it back out. I could have just used an ender chest or an ender barrel and then pumped it right in. But that's okay. You live and you learn. We're ready to start this thing. Hey, how about it? Should we just go? Should we just pull this lever and see what happens? Should we just power it? Let's do it. Ready? Oh. It's firing. It's used everything. I forgot to put the whole ROM in. We're good. Whole ROM is in. Is it on? It is making plasma. It's making power. Stats. Oh boy. Passive generation, 100,000 FE per tick right now. And fuel, injection rate 2. I think we're making a net positive still. Yeah, we're still going up. Okay, we could maybe increase this a little bit, but that's awesome. Now I want to pump power right into our supercritical phase shifter and get our stuff juiced up and working. We're actually just going to get rid of this for the minute and take power directly into the supercritical phase shifter. Is this even working? I don't even know. I have no idea. Are these getting powered somehow? Oh, there we go. We set the output. It's outputting power. It's going. Oh my god, look at that. That's incredible. Process rate. We have 2 millibuckets of antimatter. Energy input. We're putting in 365,000 FE per tick at the moment. That's crazy. That's incredible. Progress. Oh, 3 millibuckets of antimatter. You need so much. You need 1,000 to make 1 pellet. So we need a chemical crystallizer. Let's make one of these. And we're going to output antimatter into here. Oh, man. This is it. This is the future I've been waiting for. Get me antimatter. 4 millibuckets. We can make this better, though, right? What if we up the fuel injection rate? It can go up to 98, they said, right? What if we change it to 4? Is that going to consume too much fuel? Maybe. I don't know. I think we might be okay. If we change it to 4. Oh, baby. We are cooking with gas. What if we change the injection rate to 16? We might still be good. And it is making more fuel. Look at that. We've doubled the fuel. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Antimatter, here I come. This is going to take a while still. I'm going to up it again. I'm going to get a little crazy. Injection rate, 32. I think we're still making a good amount at the moment. And we've made 2.6 mega FE per tick. Okay. Okay, antimatter, here we come. I'm gonna AFK for a while. I'm gonna bring us back for our first little piece of antimatter. This is amazing. So incredible. Look at this. I love these machines. These are crazy. This is making so much power. Is it actually making 2 million FE per tick? Producing 3.8 mega FE per tick. That's insane. That's so much. We're gonna add extra power into our grid. Just cuz. Oh my goodness, it's going up. Alright, I'll be back. There it is. We did it. That's the signal. We've got our first antimatter pellet. Oh my goodness. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? Oh, baby. Create matter that shouldn't be able to exist here. This right here, this one tiny piece of antimatter. Oh, where'd it go? Hello? There it is. This tiny piece of antimatter is going to be the one thing that sets Spellcorp apart. Would you believe it? I can't believe it. That's crazy. Scientists here, they've been working so hard, putting in all the good work. No other Fortune 500 company has antimatter and has created antimatter except for Spellcorp. We are still #1. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today at the Spellcorp Industrial Complex, where we finally got a fusion reactor and a supercritical phase shifter and antimatter, our very first piece, the first piece of many. Join us next time, where we're going to be using this to work towards the All the Mods star and continue our journey here at the Spellcorp Industrial Complex, where hopefully we can get some major progress and get closer to finishing this pack and starting a new one eventually. So, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Love you. Love you. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye. Look at my lips. Oh, my goodness. Beautiful. Kiss me goodnight. Bye.